Hi everyone, this is Suzanna here, Suzanna Jamieson, and I'm super excited to be able to share this moment here with you and introduce one of my dear clients, Katie Rose Parisi, to you. And some of you might have seen her testimonial on my website already and might have been wondering, who is this woman? We want to learn more about her. And what I really love about this, and we'll get into this in a moment, but when you came first to see me, Katie, you actually had lost your job, right? And now you're actually, starting a profession that is in alignment with your heart. And what you might not know about Katie yet, as I said, she just started a new career. And so Katie Rose Parisi is a licensed realtor in California, and she's also a staging specialist. And since I've been working with her very closely and have had the pleasure to see her evolve in her progress and be part of that, which is absolutely a blessing to me. What I can see, or what I can say about her, what makes her special in her field, she's not just any realtor. Where Katie is coming from, she has a huge heart, and I absolutely love that about her. And what any form of work she's doing, any expression she has is absolutely coming from her heart, right? And so for her, it's about connecting you, if you're looking for a home, with the perfect place for you, not just trying to sell your house that's just available, So, and I personally, I feel this is so huge because, obviously you want to feel at home, and that's what Katie Rose is bringing. So why don't you tell us just briefly a little more, like, how can people work with you? Where do they find you? Is it just California? How can, how can you work with us?
Of course, thank you. Yes, I'm Katie Rose Parisi, and I am a realtor in the Northern California Bay Area region. Mm-hmm. I help buyers and sellers with all of their real estate needs, whatever that may be. And I do also provide staging services. So that is one of the benefits of listing your home with me, is that I would see that process through myself and personally, and make sure that there's a personal touch to that. Yeah.
Absolutely lovely. Can we have already, do you have a website where people can find you, or a phone number where they contact you?
Yes, of course. So I'm actually working with Keller Williams, and they are a national company, but my office is in San Jose, California. Mm-hmm. And if you want more information, my website is www.katieroseparisi.kw.com. I also, my cell phone, I'm available at any time, 408-726-6595. And again, that's katieroseparisi.kw.com. and 408-726-6595.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And for some of you, you might not have had pen and paper ready, right? So as I'm uploading this on Facebook also, so that it's a Facebook video available, and on YouTube, I'm going to give this information in the comments below so that, that you guys can track it there if you want to reach out to Katie. So she's also going to repeat it at the end of our time together here. So just, by that time you might have been able to, grab a pen and paper and just jot it down. So we'll give you that chance at the end of this conversation. And I so appreciate you doing this. I so appreciate you taking off your precious time to allow people also to learn a bit more about what your, path has been in our work together. How did you hear about me, to start up with?
Well, first off, it's absolutely my pleasure, because I wish that I could shout it on the mountaintops. I tell people,
no problem. Go ahead. Don't hold back.
Right. In fact, people ask me often, people that have known me for years and people that have just met me, what kind of work have you done? It seems like you've done a lot of work on yourself. Or, wow, you've lost a lot of weight. You seem different. Just lots of different comments from people. But mostly, the biggest comment that I get is, you seem at peace. And the biggest struggle for me was that I ran very high anxiety at all times, and trying to control everything that's out of my control. And that I was basically at the peak of that feeling in my life. And I remembered that, and I was taught at a very young age that if you ask the universe for something, it will provide it for you. And I was desperate. And I remember driving to the ocean, and which is the most powerful place for me to be, and saying, I need some help. And the next morning, I saw a Facebook Live radio show. So hopefully somebody will see this too and get the help that they want. But I saw the Facebook Live radio show, and I immediately connected with you, Suzanna, and I knew that you were the answer that I was looking for.
Love it, love it. So why, you know, if you're comfortable just sharing a bit about like what your status was when you, you know, first came to see me. I mean, I kind of pointed already like into the work situation.
Yes.
It was pretty dire.
Definitely so far the hardest moment in my life. I had already lost my birth parents. The woman who had raised me had also fallen ill in December, just 3 weeks after I got married. And it was as if my worst nightmare was coming true. I mean, this woman, she was everything. And I was really struggling trying to control what was happening to her body. And I felt out of control. At the same time, I was working for a company for 13 years in a related field, but very structured corporate company, working lots and lots and lots of hours a week to, you know, prove myself over and over and over again, week after week. And it became really stressful. And there was a big restructuring in the company, and in that same time frame, you know, my position was eliminated, and I lost my job. And so, you know, this company that I had felt like I had defined me, and this woman who I felt defined me at the same time, were just being pulled out from underneath of me, and I didn't even know who I was anymore. It's still very emotional to think about where I was in that time.
Right. Yeah, that was very palpable. Yeah, very palpable. So yeah, definitely not in a good space on various, you know, in various aspects of your life. I think, you know, there was also some compensation going on for you to be able to manage, right?
Yes, you know, there were some options for me, but in that moment.
No, I mean like the way you were handling your situation in terms of defaulting to, you know.
Oh yes, absolutely. Anything that made me feel better, whether it was, you know, CBD or alcohol or any kind of escape that I could get my hands on, because it had become unmanageable, and I just could not handle the level of pain and the level of stress. I literally felt like my entire life was out of control. Mm-hmm. And there were moments where I didn't know if I even really wanted to be here anymore.
So you were very clear at that point that something had to change, right? That wasn't even, I mean, there was
no other option.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so, you know, I think we alluded to this question before, like how come you were willing to invest in yourself to that extent? Because it's like, you know, often people are trying to do all kinds of things with self-help. I'm just going to figure it out. I'm getting a therapist or whatever. But, I mean, you have to, one has to see also, and obviously people don't know this. It's like working with me as a coach. For one, I'm not a therapist in that kind of category. And the thing is, like, you really have to show up, right? I mean, it's not that I'm like, you have to do your part of the work. Right. So that's also investing in that in yourself too, right? Not only financially, but also like time investment and just doing the practices, doing the work, right? So what was your
there's not any monetary number that can quantify what you provided for me. Mm-hmm. There really is not. It was worth every penny and then some. have all the self-help books. I did 15 years of therapy. I was on antidepressants. I had tried it all. And it wasn't working. And I needed someone to walk me through it. And I said this in my testimonial, and I mean it with everything in my heart. I literally felt like I was falling from the sky and that you caught me.
Mm-hmm. And we got you off the meds, sweetheart. Yeah. Also, my gosh.
So grateful. Yeah.
And you know, it's so precious to be part of that experience. You know, it moves me too. It's like I'm in, you know, I mean, we have a very deep connection. You know, it's not, that's not even a question. And it just like, you know, the way you've been showing up and the way you've allowed me to be part of that venture, you know, because it is a joint venture.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously I can only hold space in as much as you allow it, right? So it's
right.
Give and take. And so, yeah, and that's what I really appreciate about you, you know, and I mean, you went all out. It's like, if you want someone, you know, I mean, that's also her work ethics. You know, guys, if you want someone to really pull out all the stops for you, you know, as she said, like she was bending over backward on that 13-year job, you know, just, but without the recognition, you know, and without being acknowledged really, like more like being taken for granted. And so now she gets to express and channel that, right? You get to express and channel that in something that you actually love to do, you know, and I mean, I just know from my personal experience on how you're showing up, and that translates into all areas of your life, you know, and now as your life force energy is even freer, you know, so you bring so much more energy and heart quality into what you're doing. It's absolutely lovely to see, you know, it's totally lovely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another piece to that too is that I get to, not only do I get to show up, I get to show up on my own terms. Mm-hmm. And and I get to be exactly who I am, truthfully, and not hide behind policies and procedures, and you know, and that's such a freeing, powerful place to be. So I'm very happy with that decision and how I've made it to the place that I am right now in my career. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and it's also going to be really lovely. You know, within this company you're working, or like the, you know, the agency you're working with, that you get to have like your own, like your personal note in that, right? With the, you know, your web design that you create right now, it's totally like your own branding, and it's gonna have your feel, you know, so like people just kind of come home when they, you know, get onto your website. So, you know, it's not quite up yet, but it's gonna get, you know, it's gonna be up.
It's almost there. Yeah, it's almost there.
So super exciting, super exciting. Let's see, is there anything else? Let's see. Oh, so why? Yeah.
Yes, I did. I actually wanted to add another piece. Okay. You know, one of the things that I knew I needed to deal with was past trauma. Okay. And that's a very scary thing to bring up and talk about. And I knew that it was going to be difficult, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. And I had spent years avoiding talking about a lot of things with my regular therapist, but you gave me a space, a very safe, non-judgmental, just unconditional love, you know, space where I was okay to tell you all of my, you know, deepest, darkest regrets and fears, and fortunately today, I mean, they're not regrets, they're fears. And there were things that came up that I didn't even remember was running me, you know, these things that I had no clue that was such a big part of how I was showing up every day. And I definitely wouldn't have gotten there without you.
Love it. Yeah, it's just beautiful to watch how you've been shifting. And I mean, in relatively short time, you know, when you consider the amount of time.
Yes.
No. I mean, you know, we're still in touch and things, but it's basically like major shifts within the first weeks, right? And then it's kind of like growing into, it's kind of like, oh yeah, got it, and then it's like,
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Or maybe not.
But it's kind of like a step progression, right? You take a step and then you kind of, oh, okay, that feels different, and you get to integrate it. And then you notice like, oh, now I'm off, but you're noticing it.
Yes.
Right? Versus before you're blind to it. And so now you can identify triggers, you know how to approach them, you know how to deal with them. You're not beating yourself up anymore if if it's not the way you thought it was going to be, so all of that, that's what you meant by peaceful, it's all around, it's just so much more peace instilling. Yeah. And what was your experience with the energetic support, like the energy support?
Yes. So, well, as you know, during the months we worked together, I was coming off of my antidepressants, and it did take some time for me to get there. And what I noticed is with the remedy support, it definitely gave me the stability that I needed to work through what we talked about on a weekly, sometimes daily basis. That I think would have been very difficult had I not had that added support. It's been very helpful. Yeah.
Right. Beautiful.
It's an energy. It's really hard to describe. I mean, it's not really something you can put into words. It's almost like something comes alive inside of you but it's always been there. And it's not like an energy that you would get from caffeine or some kind of external substance. It's more powerful and more beautiful than that.
Right. Lovely.
The best way I can describe that.
Right. I mean, you've given me quite some strokes and already, but it's like, is there anything that you would like to add in terms of why work with me rather than, with someone else, or like, what is making the difference for you there personally? Yeah.
Well, for me, I instantly felt a connection, and of course it has to be, you have to feel that with someone. It has to feel right for you, and it instantly did. And I wanted to add this part. I remember when we had our first session set up. It was our 45-minute breakthrough session, which is complimentary, by the way. Throw that out there. I knew before we even got on the phone that my life was and it was never going to be the same. And I remember that defining moment. But what you provide that's different from others is 180% commitment to your clients. And you also come from a place that is just so loving and patient and caring and understanding. That you hold absolutely no judgment. There's no fear of you rejecting me. There's no fear of you being let down. You never give up on me.
No. And I
it's not it's a relationship that I will cherish for the rest of my life and then some.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We go beyond anywhere. We know that. So here we go. We got a chance to connect on this level in this lifetime. Precious, absolutely lovely. So, yeah, let's see. Why don't you give us again, like, for those who are interested or who have been contemplating either buying or selling a house, and maybe if you could just briefly say, how is that when people are not in California and they really love your energy, and how is there any way they can still work with you? Like, let's say they have a house in New York, but they want to buy a estate in Hawaii, or I don't know.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Katie Rose Parisi, and I'm a realtor in San Jose, California, so the Bay Area, Northern California. I can be reached at www.katieroseparisi.com. My cell phone number is 408-726-6595. And as Suzanna was saying, if you do live outside of California, I can still help you. I have a very wide range of referrals and a huge networking system nationwide, and I'm really good at pairing the right connections. So again, if you are either buying or selling or interested in buying or selling a home in the near future, please contact me, katieroseparisi.kw.com.
Beautiful, lovely. And again, I'm going to also post this in the comments on the video, kind of, you know, in this kind of little window thing as I'm uploading it, so people can also see it, so that they have the spelling correct. And
sure. And if you would like, you can tag me in the post too, because if people want to reach me through Facebook, that is absolutely that absolutely works.
All right. Okay. Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. I was actually, you know, going to ask, but they don't bother you on, you know, beyond that.
Feel free. Feel free.
So, and also, like, is there a way that you can, like, do you want this to share on your page, or like, you know, is there anything how this supports you in your work? Let me know. You know, we'll can then,
absolutely,
you know, when we can share this, I can send you the recording, and then you can, you know, use it as you see fit. Okay.
Yes, I've been very transparent about my transformation this year. So the more people that know how they can get that same support, the better.
Yeah, and bring more to the workshop. You know, if you have people still.
Yes,
absolutely.
I'll be there.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm just gonna talk to you in a moment. Okay, I'm just gonna stop the recording now.